The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow, and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center, and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills, and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Lights on the La Barley. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow, and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Lights on the Labaleshe Road, East Lagos. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow, and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center, and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills, and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Lights on the Lavaleshi Road, East Legon. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow, and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center, and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow, and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center, and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills, and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Lights on the Lavaleshi Road, East Legon. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow, and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Lights on the Lavaleshi Road, East Lagos. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Lights on the Lavaleshi Road, East Lagos. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent. The all-new multi-purpose Skills Hub.
Thank you so much, Joshua, for welcoming everyone officially in. So this is where I would call on, I'll introduce to us the MC for the day. Let me tell you a bit about her. So this person is very vibrant. She's eloquent and smart. She's currently a network champion for youth entrepreneurs, so YE community. What you see her do is mostly around digital skills, encouraging people with her voice. She's a global citizen and consults for digital skills. Currently, she is on the board for a sustainable environment project. She has a lot more, and I would like to pause here and invite forward Nadia Owusu with a round of applause. There she comes. she is going to treat us to a very interesting, questioning to our guests. So, Nadia, you're welcome. So, I've been asked to, welcome my guests up to their seat properly. So, let's do that. Okay. So, Nadia, over to you. I'm handing everything over to you, and I know you do really great. So, over to you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Prosper. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? Okay, I can only see 2 women, 3 women. Where are my women? Please, give me a wave. Lovely, lovely. Can we just really come closer so we have an intimate conversation? I like to be very intimate with my audience, so if we can move closer and, share the space together.
Okay, great. So we want to show you something real quick, and then we will go back to Nadia as she gets in. So on the screen, we will show you a quick video whilst we're in-house, and out there, the video would also go. So just watch what is on the screen.
The all-new multi-level skills hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their own businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The skills hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to curated library, mentoring and coaching, as well as business advisory services at the Skills Hub. Youth Employment Services, preparing youth for the world of work, and innovative supportive services and facilities providing events and meeting spaces with customizable seating capacity of 5 to 65, co-working spaces for young entrepreneurs who may not have office space to operate, high-speed internet cafe, a copy center and others, special packages for the most sought after entrepreneurship skills, employability skills, digital skills, life skills, and financial literacy for individuals and organizations. The Skills Hub is open to every young person who wants to land their dream jobs or contracts. It's time to take charge of your future. Now visit the Skills Hub at Toyota Building at American House Traffic Light on the Labaleshe Road, East Lagos. The all-new Multipurpose Skills Hub is supporting young people seeking opportunities to build their dream businesses, gain decent work, and transform their lives. The Skills Hub offers incredible services for next to nothing. These services include Youth Enterprise Services, where we support you to start, grow and sustain their businesses. Our incubation and acceleration services come with priority access to
all social media platforms, Skills Hub by Yota, and we'll be using today's hashtag Skills Hub Chat on social media, Twitter, Facebook. So please do well to be following all of that. Invite your friends who can be here to watch live on Facebook. There'll be more feeds on Instagram, LinkedIn. So please do well to do that for me. Before I start, I'm really excited to be here. I remember the time Yota started this chat. It's a community chat to get young people involved in skills building, entrepreneurship, and career advancement. And Yota has been very good at doing that. Today's edition is the 9th, and I'm really happy to be moderating. It's very good what Yota is doing with their Skills Hub project, and I'm very, very grateful to their sponsors, to BMC and all of the others who are really joining to put this together. So without much ado, I would like to invite the first speaker, who is in the person of Abena Dugan. Abena is an astute youth diplomat. When I met her, I was really very proud to see her because she's doing so much, putting Ghana on the globe everywhere. She's a gender and youth advocate who has tremendous national, international exposure in youth and international organization governance. She's also a young professional trained with skills in development finance, international trade and investment, global diplomacy, and youth development strategies. Abena has been working with common youth the Commonwealth Youth Council in Ghana. She's the outgoing vice chair. She's also worked with she's telling me it's okay. Her profile is very, very, very long. I don't want to do her the injustice, so I'm trying to give her all the glory she deserves. Abena has founded Go Green 𝐒𝐃𝐄𝐒𝐓, which seeks to contribute to Commonwealth's Blue Charter, launched during the historic visit of His Royal Highness Prince Charles of the Wales. When he came to Ghana, Abena was also there too. So like, she's very big. Guys, please, a round of applause for Abena Dugan. She's a big woman, not just big, but very, very big. And the next person I would like to invite is my very lovely friend, Zulaiha Abdullah. Zulaiha is always in my chat box asking me to send her memes, but today she takes on a different crown. She's the founder and CEO of Divaloper, a social enterprise seeking to train women and girls in tech. For a lot of people who know about me, they know how interested I am in tech. So Zulaiha is not going to have it easy on today's chat. She's also an IT auditor and speaker. She's passionate about helping and inspiring youth, especially women, to grow their careers and focus in tech and help them derive social enterprises and impacts from that. And Zulaiha is currently pursuing a master's degree at the University of Ghana in computer science. So guys, another round of applause for Zulaiha Abdullah. We have very powerful women on our panel today, and they know how excited I am to be the one moderating. It's lovely when you are watching them from afar, and it's another thing to have them in a space to talk about their careers, talk about work, not just work, but life balance, and also how their work is impacting the lives of young people. So another round of applause for all the speakers today. Before speaking to them today, we just had a very quite interesting conversation about work life, what they've been going through in their respective careers, how they have been doing mentorship, all of that. But I would want you to hear it right from their mouths. I'm very happy Abena is here, Zulaiha is here, and I'm happy to have all of you on board. I would just dive right in. I don't know which one of them I should start with, but please make sure your microphones are working.
Nice. Hello, everyone. My name is Abena Dugan. I'm the outgoing Vice Chair for Partnership and Resource for the Commonwealth Youth Council. So I had my basic education in Kumasi, St. Louis Senior High School. I went to KNUST to read political science, and that was my turning point in deciding where I want to go in the next 20, 30, 40 years in my career path. And then I came to Legon to do development finance because I'm really enthused about international finance. And then I did a program at Oxford in executive leadership because whatever you do, you need to professionalize it, get the needed certificate to validate it. And currently I'm a law student at the University of Leeds. I'm pursuing commercial law because I feel that Ghana and Africa, they've been taken advantage of by the West for so many years because looking at the contract that they bring in, it doesn't benefit the citizens, rather benefit their big industries there. So basically that is a little bit about me.
The little bit though. Zulaiha, just give us a brief summary about what you do.
Hi, I'm Zulaiha, the founder for Divaloper. So basically,
it's not basic, please.
Please let me use basically. So basically, I'm into inspiring girls. It started way when I was younger because I've always wanted to be in leadership positions. I always want to speak and to add value to people. So since I was young, I've always vied for positions because I felt that was a way to actually impact in the next generation and in my folks. Currently, I'm just trying to use tech to change Ghana in a small way that I can, community at a time, one step at a time. So that's basically it. Abi is brief. It was
yes,
okay, right?
That was brief, but not basic, because I think everything you're doing is very phenomenal. And today's theme is on our journey, starting out in my career. You've mentioned you're the founder, you're the CEO, you're the vice chair. How did you get there? Like, people here are interested in knowing what began your journey. How did you commence your journey? Did you just wake up one day and you knew in future, I want to do law. I want to be the vice chair. I want to be the youth advocate. I want to start something to make young people feel inspired. So, Zulaiha, how was your journey like from high school? Did you have a set out plan, or things changed for you along the way? Just let us know.
Okay, so for me, I actually felt like I had a planned out life because growing up, I grew up with computers. I grew up in tech because of my dad. So I grew up learning IT, using a laptop. I was so enthused about laptops, computers, scanners, everything. So I could read a book and then I'll go and type it on my PC and print it out and stick it on my wall because I just loved technology. So when I was going to secondary school, obviously in Ghana, we don't have IT courses. So I did business because I loved accounting, so I was good with math. I just didn't like science because I didn't like biology. So it was too much reading for me, so I didn't choose science because of that. But I loved math, so I did business in secondary school. And the first day I went into secondary school, normally when you go to secondary school, they add everybody in the first year and you try and mingle before you get separated into classes. So one time a counselor came and he was like, who is going to be the next girls prefect of the school? I raised my hand because I always wanted to be in leadership positions. I always wanted to lead. So I raised my hand and then he was like, oh, that's good, come and give the vote of thanks. So it started from there. So then when we got split into our classes, I became the class prefect. But then something happened and I think that actually changed everything for me. So when our class teacher came into the class for the first time, we were all in the class, he was like, who wants to be the class prefect? Guess who? I raised my hand and I was the only person. And so everybody, and then he was like, okay, so this is your class prefect. And the guys were like, no, she can't be our class prefect. Why would we allow a girl to lead us when we have guys? And that was the first time that I had actually come into like contact with the inequality. I didn't know it. I didn't know there was bias. Honestly, in GSS, I didn't have that. I didn't really understand it. So that happened to me in secondary school, and I was like, wait, what? So they actually organized another election where they chose a guy to be the class prefect and they all voted. And obviously, guys would always be more than the girls in class. I don't know if that's changed now, but during my time, that was how it was. And so they made him the class prefect and I was their son's class prefect. And I didn't know why the teacher didn't stand to make sure that it didn't happen, but it changed my perspective of life. I was like, okay, it's not going to be easy for me as a woman. And so I made a pact that no matter where I find myself, I was going to make sure that I lead. And I'm going to make sure that my voice was heard. And so from there, I started taking leadership positions, whether I liked it or not. I tried to convince myself that, look, you need to be heard. You need to be outspoken. So from there, from secondary school, I stood for positions. I won all of them. I went to university. That was in UDS. I was offering computing with accounting. As usual, I stood for positions and everything. So when I came out, I had the opportunity to actually do my national service in Tamale, and a good friend I call my mentor was also into the entrepreneurship space. So we started with I don't know if you've heard Startup Grind. So there's Startup Grind and we started Startup Grind Tamale. So I was the co-director and he was the director. So that was when entrepreneurship really got into me, because we were organizing entrepreneurship events. We go and scout for people who were doing awesome in the entrepreneurship space in Tamale, bring them, have conversations with them, and understand what the space there was about. So that was just how it sprang out. I worked as an IT auditor because I love IT, and I did business, and I did my national service with an auditing firm. So the blend, that was just how it started for me. As I started Grind, I got to see that there were a lot of women that were not so much tech savvy in Tamale. So then I started Divaloper, and I moved back to Accra, and then I launched Divaloper Accra last year, where you were also there. So that's been the journey in a nutshell.
Hey, I wish my journey was like that too. But yeah, that's really inspiring, because the striking point was when you had to be face to face with inequality. Yeah. Were you schooling in Accra?
Yes.
The entire time you were in Ghana?
Yes.
And you didn't face that?
I didn't.
Wow.
From JSS, I didn't face that. Like, I didn't have, because when we were in JSS, the person who was topping the class was female. And so, like, we don't really know those things till you're faced with something like that, yes.
But I'm happy for you. You knew that no matter what was going to happen, you had to if the grounds were bad, you were going to lead. If the grounds were good, you were going to lead. So I think that's one resilient factor about you I really like from the story. Abena, your turn.
I went to an all-female secondary school, so I never had issues with pleasing up with men and the challenge of inequality in secondary education. So on senior high school, I took up leadership position in my class and all of that. So in my senior high education, I took up leadership position in my class and all of that. But my major turning point in where I am today was when I was choosing a course for my university days, because my father was in politics. And in 92, he's in politics. He was affiliated with MPP. And in 92, because of the boycott, he missed going to parliament. So he was like, he had a reason for having always wanting a daughter, because he had wished that there would be a daughter that would take over after he's gone. And he died in 2017. So then my daddy was like, you know what, I want you to do political science, because my interest was in traveling. So I love geography. I wanted to see places. I wanted to do tourism management at UCC. That was my interest. But when my daddy sat me down, said, you have to do this, because do this for me, do it for yourself, because in the future, looking at the empathy you have for people, the concern you have for the ordinary person you see on the street, I think you'll be an asset for the country. So I read political science, and then I started taking up leadership position. I was social science secretary. I was SRC general secretary. I've been secretaries like all over. So. But one key thing that was phenomenal was when I was at the university, I saw the inequality. I saw the fact that women cannot stand up for certain leadership positions. So there was a lady there who was also passionate, Satlina. She was passionate like the way I am. So we created Every Woman's Corner on Focus FM. So we're hosting programs on how to create the everyday woman. So it wasn't just about social issues. It was about health. It was about beauty. It's about gaining your confidence as a woman. So afterwards, and then I did my national service as a teaching assistant, because I'm really passionate about teaching. If it wasn't politics, I would have lectured. So then there was someone from, actually it was a Francophone guy, who sent me a webpage about Commonwealth Youth Council, because I've worked with him for All African Student Union. I've worked with a lot of youth groups like USAG and NUTS in training young people. And he was like, Abena, I've met you. I think that you should contest for this position. That time was in 2015. And I was like 2 months to the elections. I was like, I don't think I can win in 2 months. If I'm going for an election, I should be ready and I should be prepared that I'm going to make sure that I win and I come out. So fast forward, then there was in 2017, the same opportunity came, because the elections is biannual. We hosted during Chogam. And then I had ample time to prepare, campaigning, and a lot of Ghanaians would look at you and say, Abena, no Ghanaian has ever won this position. Are you sure you can win? Nigerians will call you, oh, we have a candidate. My sister, why don't you step down? You are a lady. You can't win this position. Actually, that was my motivation, because I was like, I'm going to beat these guys to this game, and I'll win, and I'll be the first ever woman from West Africa to be in that position. And when I'm gone, I'll make sure there'll be another woman from West Africa in a certain vice chair position, because like 9-member slot, and for the whole Commonwealth country, 53-member country. So it's not easy to get in that one slot. So luckily, I won in 2018 in London, and history was made. And coming back home, I asked myself that what can I do to transform a lot of Ghanaian youth, a lot of young people to aspire? Because if you look at the trajectory and the platform for politics and also for science and technology, it's been dominated by men. But it's high time that women stand up for themselves to represent the issues that concerns them the most. You should be able to speak out. You should be able to advocate for yourself. Let them know that your voice matters. It's not just about having a seat at the table, but when you have that seat, make sure that you contribute meaningfully to make sure that every other woman behind you will get that opportunity. So back home, we started Go Green Checkmate because it contributes to the Commonwealth Blue Charter, and I'm also passionate about greening the earth and climate change. So I was at COP26, and we had a couple of issues and policies. My issue is that it's high time that we take a stand. It's not just about policies. It's not just about having policies about greening the earth and climate change. Everyone should start by planting a tree. Everyone should start by planting a flower. Accra is so hot now, more than 20 years ago. If you start by planting just a flower in your backyard, trust me, is going to be like the momentum and it's going to be like a roller coaster for all of us. So in the next 10, 20 years, Accra will not be as what as it is now. So my new place, I left a huge place for a garden. So when someone came to, they said, oh, I'm going to use it for a garden and planting. I was like, oh, why would you have a nice house and you have forest around? And I said, no, it's not forest. That is a wrong mentality. We need to make sure that you have greens around, garden around, and all of that. So that has been it. And looking back with my course of journey, I realized that I think that I've been to every continent in this world, and I've met a lot of people. But what I realized was, as Africans, when we come at the table, we tend to shiver, we tend to shield back like, hey, if I don't speak out, if I speak out, they will not give me the contract. And people are very, very self-seeking and selfish, because when they get the platform, it's not just about the people. They are thinking about their pocket, they are thinking about their interest. But I said, I've looked at several commercial agreements between companies, and the same company like MTN is giving better services in South Africa than in Ghana. Their rate for buying data and all of that. So I asked myself, what can I do to change the world? Why don't I enter law? Because there I can seek equality. There I can seek for justice. There I can make sure that the contract we have is more or less reflective and is going to benefit the average Ghanaian. So that's my passion for doing law. So basically that is it.
Hey, the way these people are using basic, it's going to make me start hating the word basic. But I would like to acknowledge the fact that both of our speakers had different paths when they were starting out. Zulaiha didn't have it easy. She faced a lot of challenges. She faced pushbacks that inspired her to stand for leadership positions. She had a path. She followed her path. She knew what she wanted, and she went ahead and got it. When it comes to Abena was inspired, and she was passionate about art. But then certain things influence the change. Sometimes it can be your parent. For her, it was her father. Sometimes it can be your colleague. Sometimes it can be certain things you see in your environment, in your community, that sparks this key for you to be who you want to be. It doesn't have to always be in school. It doesn't have to be your course you're pursuing. Sometimes it's the things around you that can be the factors for your career. So before I move on, we have a team of students from Shannon International Institute. I would like to welcome them in French. So bienvenue aux amis de Shannon International Institute à Kofridja. Installez-vous confortablement. So,
that was good.
Oh guys, calm down. Merci. Anyway, guys, I did French at the University of Ghana for 1 year. Trust me, it wasn't easy. But anyway, moving forward, Akwa to Intri. So moving forward, we are just going to know more about their challenges, the setbacks. What made them what they have become now? You know, sometimes they say iron sharpened iron, but for them, was it iron? Was it wood? Was it water? What really made them the women they are now? Can you really highlight some of that moment for us? I don't want to call it failure moments or anything, but I really want to know, and I'm sure they really want to know too. Our audience would want to know what encounters did you have? What setbacks? Where did you get to that you felt maybe this is not my calling, or this is not what God or whoever you worship has called you to be? So can you let us know? We'll start with Zulaiha. The way you're looking at Abena start.
I wanted her to start. Okay. Wow. I think I will go to university when I was in level 300 and I was transitioning to level 400, and I stood for a position as SLC treasurer. During that time, I actually thought I was low-key. When I say low-key, I mean I didn't think I was popular. I didn't think a lot of people knew me. I just thought I was just in school doing my business and everything. So I wanted to be an SLC treasurer, and then I made my intentions known. And what hit me actually changed the trajectory of everything for me and my mindset, because I got to realize that people always have a perception about you, whether you like it or not. It can be based on how you speak, how you communicate with others, what you do, that you think people are not actually watching, but people are. And for me, what was striking was the things that I was hearing. And if you're into politics, you know that there's something we call propaganda. So your opponent always comes up with certain propaganda against you. But there's something you have to actually understand, that underneath every propaganda, there's a little truth. And so the propaganda I was hearing about myself actually scared me, but motivated me. So I was the only girl in the race standing as SRC treasurer. We had 2 guys and myself. We go for the vetting, and I topped my vetting panel. And the only thing that I could hear was that I slept my way through the vetting panel. Mind you, I was actually surprised. I was like, who in the right sense would actually, the vetting panel was made up of 5 guys. I was like, why would anybody want to sleep with 5 guys to just at least top vetting, and you don't even know whether you're going to win the election or not? It was absurd to me, but it informed me about what I would go through as a woman, whether in my career path, in my journey. And so I was like, no, this is actually appalling. This is bad to hear. This doesn't make sense, because we all have our values, we all have our value system, our principles, but for them to say something like that about you, and you know politics is going to go far. It went far, and every time I go to a classroom or a hostel to go and campaign, I see that resistance. I see people looking at me in a certain way. At some point, I see people asking me certain questions, like intellectual questions from books, just to try and make it look like you're stupid and you don't know what you're doing, because they want to validate the propaganda that is going on. They want you to fail at the question they are asking you so that you cannot answer, and they'll be like, oh, we already told you, she doesn't know anything. So at that point, I was like, I need to win this election for myself first, and for every woman out there. And 2, every time I get into the room, I need to make sure that I am the best. And it changed everything for me, because it was a huge setback. I actually wanted to pull out of the race, but I was like, no, I can't give up here. So from there, I started building on my mindset. My friend that I call my mentor, Mubarak, he's the CEO for Bizo Money, a fintech in Ghana. And I went up to him, I was like, I want to be a woman. I want to speak and people will listen to me. I want people to actually reach out to me because they want to have me on their panel discussions. I want women to look up to me and be like, oh, I want to be like Zulaiha. And he was like, am I really sure about that journey? I was like, yes. He was like, okay, your first assignment, you're going to read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I was like, I don't read self-help books. And he was like, you do now. You have to start now. So that was it for me. I started reading. I stopped reading novels and I started reading on self-help books. I started using the internet wisely. I go on YouTube. I would say how successful people run their mornings, morning routine for successful people, night routine for successful people. What do I need to know as a woman in the 21st century? These were the things that I started reading. These were the things that I started looking out for. And so that failure, I don't think it was a failure because I don't think I failed yet, but I think that I've had setbacks. So that setback actually pushed me to be who I am now. And from there, I was very intentional about the things I put on social media, about the conversations that I had, about the people that I spoke to, and about the crowd that I mingle in. And so I'm not a friend of many. I don't have a lot of friends because I believe that sometimes you can be good, you can be white, but if you mingle in black, you become black at some point. No, she didn't get this position because she knew what she was doing, but because she did it this way. And so from there, I always was building my capacity. Like when I was doing my national service, whilst people were doing other things, I was reading. When I started working at my corporate job, I was the only lady in my department. In fact, I'm still the only lady in my department, and I code in my department. department, and everybody is like, you code? I'm like, yes. And when we are presenting on softwares that we've built, I need to present, not because I'm trying to be out there, but because I have actually made myself a good presenter amongst the people that I work with. And so involuntarily, they just push me to actually even do it. And so I don't think I've failed yet, but I think I've had setbacks, and that major one for me was the SRC treasurer. That really changed everything for me, because that was when I really thought about the woman that I wanted to become in the next 5 years. After that time, I was 19, and I'm 25 years now, and I am glad I actually had that bad PR back then, because if not, I wouldn't have been here. So that's just it for me.
Well-deserved hand claps. Very well-deserved. I really wanted us to talk about inequality, gender-based violence, abuse, harassment, and discrimination at workplaces and associations and in groups. And I'm very happy, Zulaiha, you mentioned it. So, Abena, to you, any failures, any setbacks, what would you like to share with us?
Okay, so I would start like I've not failed yet, but
Lovely.
there have been a couple of setbacks. And I had the same problem too at my SRC elections. So what I've come to realize is to be in politics, you need to grow a thick skin. For me, I don't really care what people say about me. As long as I know who I am, as long as I know what God thinks of me is right, I don't really care what people think about me. Because in the SRC elections, if you're a woman, quote or unquote, you're being seen as a prostitute, or you've been sleeping your way up there, or you've had, but the point is, you know who you are. So what I've done is, in every election, I look at my capacity, the connection I have, if I have the resource to win. I don't really care what the perception out there, because whether you like it or not, propaganda will follow you as long as you're in leadership. And it's not just about politics. In every leadership, there's propaganda against you. So back then, there were a lot of propaganda out there, similarly like what you faced. But for me, it didn't really get to me. My focus was, how do I get my message across? How do I get people to believe in me? How can I get them to look beyond the fact that I'm a beautiful young lady, but my ideas are awesome and I'm going to be the best secretary they've ever had? So it's about presenting your ideas. It's about letting people believe in you and supporting your vision. And yes, it also changed my mentality about politics, because I realized that coming up there, I have to also more or less dissociate myself from some people. So now my friends are very few. I go for programs on purposes, because it's like, if I'm coming for your party, then it should be maybe you're a lawyer, you are within my circle, I'm going to get a connection to my next level or something. But then I just don't wake up one morning, I'm going for a party here, I'm roaming around, because people can just take a picture of you and it's out there. And I become really intentional about what I post on social media, because I want them to look beyond my beauty, but then to look at my brains. I always believe that when you're beautiful with brains, you need to let your brains pop out. When they get to meet you and you're beautiful, hey, that's a plus. Coming back, I think that my other setback was at the election I contested at CYC. It wasn't because I had other contenders from other countries. We were 5 in the race, 2 ladies, 3 gentlemen. But because I had a lot of Ghanaians who couldn't even believe in me. They were like, oh, Abena, you are too young for this position. For the record, no Ghanaian has ever won this. Are you sure you can win this? So when I met the chief of staff, Auntie Frema, and I took her through why I think I'm going to win this and it's going to be history. And she was like, oh, really? You seem really excited about it. Make sure you go and represent us. Make sure you go and make Ghana proud. And here I am. I think that the naysayers cannot stop me from where I'm going to go to. The propaganda cannot keep me behind. I know my goal. I know where I want to be in the next 10 years, where I want to be in the next 20 years. So if you are here and you're worried about what your co-workers think about too much, you're going to limit yourself. Think about building your capacity. Think about connecting with the right people. Think about finding mentors who will guide you, who will support you, and above all, have a faith. If you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you are an atheist, have a belief in something and stand for something. You can't be for nothing. You should be there like, oh, I have a principle on this, and my view is on this, represent something. Coming back home with my law career now, by June I should be done with coursework, and then by November I should graduate, and I can start looking at contract and how best I can participate. I think that in politics, you cannot be part, if you're either part of the problem, you're part of the solution. And the only way to be part is to be part of the public policy. I've served with the National Youth Authority.
NYE.
We did a lot of youth policy review and all of that. But the problem is we set timelines. But the question is, have we been able to beat those timelines? How are we preparing our young people? What are some of the challenges that we have faced after post-COVID? How is the average Ghanaian faring? How is the cost of living now? Those are the issues that I'm really passionate about, and I'm also pushing and speaking to 1 or 2 people about it. So I think after June, I'll be very, very, very proactive about my advocacy, but now, because of law school, is very demanding, so I'm going low-key. Thank you.
They've really shared so much. If I want to take my key points, we're not going to finish now, but it's very inspiring. Abena talked about mentorship, capacity building. Zulaiha also mentioned it, how you're adding to yourself, the value you bring on board, not just doing the usual. You wake up, go to work, you wake up, you go to school. What are you reading? Who are you inviting into your space? Which kinds of friends? What's your network like? Who is your friend? Who knows you? Because people keep saying on social media, the people you know, do they know you too? You should be asking yourself that. But for me, I want us to delve into a different space. We're talking so much about, I've been to law school, I've done this, I've done that. It's very inspiring. But for young people out there who are not at the university yet, for young people who are in the informal education sector, what does it look like for them when they are starting careers? Some of them are learning apprenticeship. Doesn't mean they would always be a subordinate. Doesn't mean they would not be able to lead. Can they also not create change in their own space? So let's talk about how informal education also takes a stance in the careers of young people. We'll start with Abena.
Okay, so basically with informal education, a lot of young people have had access to workshops, TVET training, and people by observing others to learn and be who they want to be. And for me, it's cost effective because you don't pay when you're in the informal sector for education. Also, you learn at your own pace, and then you have the autonomy to decide when and what to learn. Yes, from the informal sector, you can make it. The only thing is about who are you looking up to? Who are you learning it from? And then ask yourself, how motivated are you to unleash those potentials that you've gathered? So I think that from the informal sector, most young people can make it. Apprenticeship, and those who are also learning a trade, most of them, they even succeed outside the education, because there is a book, The Things You Are Never Taught in Harvard. And even those of us in the education background, we need to come out and learn the informal skills in order to succeed as an entrepreneur. So those of them who are already on the field, learning on the job, they have a greater chance to. It's just about believing in themselves. It's just about getting well with their communication skills and the right contact and the mentorship and the support they need to be out there. So that's perfect.
That's really, really inspiring, because if you don't think education is what's going to give you everything you need, because now people are looking beyond your CV, people are looking beyond your educational experience. They are looking more into things you volunteered in, things you've led on, courses you're passionate about. So if you're not in school at the moment, please don't think you're out of the race yet, because people who are out of school are actually the ones at the grassroots level trying to create change, trying to impact young people at that level and trying to do something for the world. So you're not left out if you're not in the university, if you're not in high school. At least we have free SHS to help you gain some, literacy. But apart from that, there's social media, there's online tools, there are free tools you can use. So not mentioning more, let's go back to Zulaiha. So she talks about how tech is also making young people feel very capacitated in that space.
Exactly. I was about to say that when we say informal education, so you can actually be in med school, and if you get into tech, you didn't go to school, you didn't go to university to actually learn tech. So that's informal, right? I want to show light on Odamia here. She works with me at Divaloper, and she has a very interesting story, because she actually went to school to study pharmacy, but when she came out, she taught herself in digital marketing. So she used the informal way to actually add value to herself, right? We have people being doctors, to software developers, to content managers and all that, because they actually did one thing, and it's something that I've realized in my organization with Divaloper. So throughout the course of the strike, I was very impressed with about 3 or 5 ladies. I can't really point, because this is what they did. Because they were on strike and lecturers were not teaching, they reached out to me and told me they needed to learn something in tech. So I have been mentoring these girls to actually pick a career in tech, to learn how to code, to learn digital skills marketing, and one was interested in database, but we've not started yet. So that's an informal way of actually learning it, regardless of the course the person is studying on campus, right? So it's actually important that you know the future of work is not being in one particular career. Personally, I'm an IT auditor. So what I can do is I can work in an accounting firm and help audit, and I can also develop softwares. So I have 2, and I'm not stopping here. I'm going to add more. So whether you are into, let's say you are into education, you can actually be a teacher or a lecturer whilst you build softwares or latest technologies for organizations, right? If you don't have the opportunity to actually use the tools that we have online, you can actually attach yourself to people that are actually doing these things. We have YouthDiplomat. There are so many hubs spread out in the country that are giving free tutorials and free workshops. You can just attach yourself to one of them. They will teach you something. It's either you're learning how to code, you are learning how to be into the digital space, you're learning content creation, cybersecurity. There is so much. The injustice you can do to yourself currently in this generation that we find ourselves is deprive yourself from actually adding more capacity, especially in the tech space. So regardless of your career trajectory or where you are heading towards, there's something you need to do. You have to add tech to it. So if you're in law, you have to think about tech law. If you are in medicine, you have to think about tech medicine, because whether you like it or not, COVID did something. It's changed everything, and we had to force ourselves, people from this part of the continent, especially in Africa, we had to force ourselves to learn certain things. In some organizations that I worked with, people didn't know how to use their emails, but because of COVID, they had to start using Zoom. I saw something funny on Twitter during the COVID time, and he was like, an organization paid him a consultancy fee of about $500 to come in subscribe for Zoom. Like he literally had to come and download Zoom on the laptop, and he charged them $500 for consultancy. And it's so, like, think about it, like just going on Google, you can actually buy bundle for 3 CDs and download Zoom, but a company had to pay $500 to a consultant. Do you know why? Because in this part of the world, we are actually focusing on education, but we are not focusing on the right source of education or the right type of education. So yes, you can actually do informal education is very important, and it doesn't mean that you are just maybe going to a workshop or just learning something. People actually have this perception that if you are into informal education, it means you're not learning to be bougie. You know, in this part of the world, we want to be classy, we want to see ourselves to be classy, so we don't want to do certain things. But you can actually be a mechanical engineer, a fitter, and actually have like a solid education. I have people like that. You can actually just fix cars and have a solid education, or you can actually sit in an office with AC and actually have an informal sector job that's actually paying you more than the job you're having in your AC office. So informal education is for everybody, not a particular type of people. Whether you are rich or whether you are poor, you need a little bit of informal education, because it's not an education where you sit down with a curriculum, but self-learning certain things, self-learning certain skills is an informal education, or a route to informal education. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Please, with what they've said, I don't even have to add or ask them any more questions. I just want to know, just by showing hands, how many of us have 2 jobs? The one you've created for yourself and the one you are currently employed in? Okay. How many of us don't have jobs at all? Searching for jobs. And how many of us are working for ourselves? Okay. So I can see people who have 2 jobs are more than people who have created jobs for themselves and people who are unemployed. Well, before leaving here today, make sure you connect with someone who can be your next client or be the next person to hire you. Know the person who is sitting beside you, know the people around you. You can just put your call card on someone's table or follow someone on social media. You never know. Anytime you are in a space like this, make sure you know who you're with. You never know. Zulaiha may be employing you. Abena can connect you to the Commonwealth Youth Council or connect you to National Youth Authority. You'll be getting contracts, signing with the big boys. But anyways, one thing for me, they were talking about you can be beautiful and your voice can reflect. And you shouldn't just be slaying, but please slay because I slay.
Period.
But yeah, just to clear the air, I think we've really touched on the part of starting out. Things to note, things to not note, and things that you can do to add up to yourself. For me, I would want to ask this question. In your specific sector, in your space, there's IT, there's also diplomacy, diplomatic affairs. In IT, what are certain things people need to, start out there and the common mistakes they do? Because now every work you do, I would attest to the fact that for me, after leaving the university, everything I earn now is based on things I did online, workshops I attended, spaces like this where I grew, I learned, and I'm earning more than what I thought I would earn because all my certificates are online certificates, Google certificates, this certificate, LinkedIn certificates, ITC certificates, and nobody's asking me for my degree. And the amount of money I make, not to brag, God has been great. Things I've learned on my own have given me a decent job, and that's where we want to be at. How can you earn a decent job from whatever you're at? So what should a young person who wants to start a career in tech do? How can they, what mistakes or what are the flags they should look out for, apart from doing this? I've done everything right, now I'm not getting my job. I've done everything right, but I can't start my own business. How can I write a contract? How do I win contracts? So we'll start with Abena. I've been starting with Zulaiha for a long time. Abena, what can a young person do? If I say I'm a youth advocate, I've volunteered, I've done this, how can I apply for grants and get it? How do I position myself in my space where I'm known as the leader? If anyone thinks about digital skills, they will think of Nadia. If anyone thinks about youth development, it's Prosper they will come to. So how do I shape myself in that space?
Okay, so basically, before you go out there, you need to have a strategic plan. You cannot get anywhere unless you have a plan with achievable timelines. The second thing is you need to research the industry you are going in. A lot of young people have an idea, but they don't research on it. You need to research, make contact, and make sure that you also look at yourself. You have to review your qualification too. As an individual, where I want to go to, does it reflect the qualification that I have? If I don't have it, do I need to study? Do I need to get an informal education to achieve that? You have to review your qualification. The other aspect is you need transferable skills. Make sure you develop your soft skills. You need interpersonal and character traits, because these days a lot of companies are not just looking for the hard skills, they are also looking for the soft skills. So in politics, you need to be someone who is disciplined, you need to have empathy, you need to have a clear communication plan, you need to be able to communicate to people and they can connect with what you have to bring on board. So those are the few pointers I can share when it comes to my sector. I think that the red flags you should avoid is, don't start with the idea that, oh, I'm a loser, am I going to succeed? Always start with a positive outlook. Always go out there and believe in yourself, because nobody will believe in you unless you start believing in yourself. And always know that a ball only gathers momentum when it starts rolling. You are never too young or too old to start something. So always go out there, be ready for the challenges, address them, and I know that with your strategic plan, with timelines, you're going to succeed. Yeah.
That's lovely. Zulaiha.
Awesome.
some recommendations or flags people should look out for in the tech
I think
space?
it starts with what she said. Okay, so I'm going to speak on two different aspects, tech side and then the entrepreneurship side. So with tech, if you want to get into tech, let's say you don't have any idea and you want to get into tech, the first thing you need to do is actually just go online and research tech careers. That's just it. Just write that. They'll give you a brief explanation on web development, digital marketing, cybersecurity. Just read through. The first step, just read through. Then you sit down and you sit back and you be like, what do I enjoy doing? So are you somebody that actually likes to communicate with artistic things? Do you like coming up with certain captions, or you want to see this bottle and then write a story about it? Or you're somebody that is so creative that sometimes you visit maybe a website and you feel like maybe, oh, this should have been here. You wish this one would have been here. Sometimes subconsciously you actually do that, but you don't know that you actually have that in mind, yes? So are you somebody that's actually more empathetic with people, and so you want to be communicating in a way that people actually understand a brand? Or are you somebody that is just focused on bringing up ideas and just getting a group of people to actually work on them? So this gives you, when you ask yourself what you enjoy doing, this gives you an understanding. As I read the other careers in tech, it gives you an understanding of where you can actually find yourself. So I am a front-end developer at work, and I would use that side. So let's say you want to do front-end. So what front-end basically is, when you go on Facebook, what you see is front-end. When you go on WhatsApp, what you see is front-end. What happens at the back is back-end. You don't want to be interested in logic. Maybe you just want to make something beautiful for people to see. So then you know how to be a front-end developer on Google. Google is your best friend when you are getting into tech. Like, it's so easy. It might get tough, but you just Google how to be a front-end developer. There are so many programming languages, I always tell people. And so there's one mistake that I realized that people actually make is that they want to learn everything at once. You fail, right? For you to be an expert in a field, you need to spend at least some time learning that skill. So you want to get into tech, you want to be a digital marketer. You sit down, you read about digital marketing. Google has a digital marketing certificate you can actually start learning on. Or you go to Udemy, you buy a course in front-end developing, or you go to YouTube. They actually have courses for these careers in tech. So you just sit down and read through, you watch the videos, and then you might hit a hurdle. You might get to a point where you don't really understand. So this is what you do. You go online, you go on LinkedIn, or you go on Twitter. Try to follow people within that space, within the front end. You can just, if you just write front end on search, you will get accounts that actually contribute more on front end. And then you can get a mentor. There are two types of mentors. Mentors from afar and mentors that you're close to, right? You can have mentors from afar. I do that sometimes. I'm reading some things. I have somebody that I'm looking up to on Twitter. So I go to the person's page and I read what the person writes, or I just text the person, or just write, oh, I'm doing this, that on Twitter. Can somebody help me with this? You'll be surprised at how a lot of people would want to help you in that field. And then the fifth step is you document everything that you learn. So firstly, you've researched in the field, you know where you want to be in tech. The second thing is you are following a course online that you want to do. You've hit a hurdle, then you find a community online that you can actually affiliate yourself to. Before COVID, we were having these meetups where people can go and learn about, but because of COVID, it's a bit slow, but I'm sure they are picking it up. But you can leverage on the online community and find people within that environment or within that front end, within that community that can actually help you. Just reach out to people online and they will definitely help you. Then you document on your way. If you want to be in tech, there's one important thing that you need to know. People don't really care about your degrees anymore, but what they care about is your competence. And how then do you let people know how competent you are is by showing them a blueprint. So my first Hello World, I write it on my blog. WordPress helps you with blogging. Medium.com helps you with writing. So you write that, you document everything. How I installed my first GitHub, how I pushed my first codes online. So you are writing all that, and you then maybe after 3 months you feel like you want to start learning remote jobs. You just need to get a CV with that blog on it. And what the recruiter is going to do is the recruiter is going to go on that blog and read the journey, how you've grown. It shows your resilience. It shows how focused you have been. It shows how you are learning and improving yourself. And so it gives the recruiters or people who are looking to employ you an understanding that, oh, okay, this person actually knows where she or he is heading to. This one is actually somebody that's progressive and is actually building the capacity. So maybe they might need somebody who has 2 years experience, but they've seen that within a particular month, you have really learned a lot. So they're like, okay, if I give this guy a chance or I give this girl a chance, she can actually learn on the job faster, right? So this is how you can get into tech. So when you start documenting, you'll be surprised at the audience and the community you are building for yourself. So as you're building that community for yourself, you are meeting other people. Leverage on coming to workshops like these. If you hear there's a meetup, you just go for the meetup, have conversations. You can reach out to Nadia. Like, it's so easy to actually navigate yourself through tech in this environment, like in this age of COVID, like after COVID. Are we still in COVID or we're after COVID? Okay, so
the pandemic is real.
Yeah, so that's it for tech, right? And the truth is that tech, it's not all tech careers that you need to really code. People have that misconception. No, there are other aspects where it's just reading and then being creative. So you can explore that option too. Maybe you're not a logical person, you are more of a creative person. You can leverage on that too. And so let's move to the business side. You have an idea, you want to launch a business. There is something that I realized, a mistake that a lot of people do is that they feel their business idea is ultimate. And I was reading the book, The Originals, where it says that most people that come up with ideas always think that their ideas is superior. I know where it's going to. This is a hit. We are going to scale a millionaire before 30. Yeah, so you think your idea is like the OG. I'm not saying don't believe in your idea, but this is something you need to do. It's always important to have people evaluate your idea. People are very objective and can be selfish. One, people will tell you or advise you, oh, this idea is bad, don't take it. But then they will tell you the reason why they are saying don't take it. So you work on the reason why they are saying don't take it. And other people will be like, oh, this is a good idea, but you can do it this way, you can do it that way, you can do it. So you write that down. And then you sit down and be like, okay, so this is my original idea. This is what people are saying. Maybe the few people you've spoken to. Okay, how then do I come into the middle? There's something we call ikigai in the Japanese that helps you find your passion. But you can use that in your business too, to understand, okay, so how do I create a balance? Because I'm creating a solution for people. And so I want to get as much customers. And so my product needs to be in a way that it can serve multiple people at the same time. So you leverage on that. The second thing is you need to find a roadmap, a plan for yourself. Okay, so you check the roadmap for businesses online. I always use online. Google is your best friend. Very important. You go, how to draw a business plan. You will not finish your business plan before you start the work, but at least you get the basics. You use the business model canvas to get the basics. Where am I getting my resources from? Where am I getting funding from? Okay, am I going to use the savings? Who am I supposed to speak to? Who are my target audience for now? And so don't try to build a business, be like at once, boom, you are just blowing up. No, you have to take it one step at a time. And the only way you can actually do that is when you have like a roadmap, a strategic plan for yourself. And then the third one is to get a mentor, somebody who is already in the business space. It can be afar and it can be close to. Leverage on organizations like this. YOTA has Innovate, Upgrade, Ideate. You come to them. I'm sure maybe you might pay a small token, or it might be free. You might never know. But just try to get people that are already in the space. There are a lot of insights you can hear from them. You don't need to actually bootstrap everything. Even now, the ideas you come up with, somebody has already done it before. So what do? You look up to their idea and try to punch holes into it, and then make sure you do it better. We have this mentality in this part of the world where we are afraid people will steal our idea. Trust me, look, it's not beneficial to start first. It's beneficial to start last if you are going to learn from the people that actually rush before you. So you have an idea, I speak to Nadia about it, but I'm afraid she'll steal the idea. But mind you, I am unique and she's unique. She might steal the idea, but I will learn from her and the mistake she has done, add it to mine. And when I come out, I'll be like Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces. Nobody even knows about Clubhouse anymore. It's very difficult for you to hear about Clubhouse. But Clubhouse actually started that idea. But Twitter took a step back, and then they saw what Clubhouse did, and then boom. I deleted my Clubhouse because I'm enjoying Twitter Spaces more. So it's not beneficial to start first and go and hit the wall and then you're like, oh. But it's beneficial to start last when you're actually making sure that you are learning from your competitors and then you're coming up with good ideas. So this is just some few snippets I can give for now. And
there's a point you just made which is very important.
Yes.
You talk about big startups because quite often many companies come up with a very good implementation of an idea. There's only one that succeeds. Did the Twitter, did the Facebook. But Facebook have MySpace before. In music we have Napster, we have SoundCloud. So people have to remember also that things have to fall in place at the right time. The business ideas come in, you have to do the right investment.
It's actually loud. Yeah, we can hear
Things
you.
don't always fall in place. I think the important thing also is to remember that you learn from the business to make you stronger next time.
I don't know if people kind of got that. Yeah. Hey, Charlie, this is hard. So, no, I was just, so she made the point about Clubhouse and Twitter and the fact that, sometimes you can take an idea and as long as you take someone else's idea and you fine tune it, it can work for you. But when we think about startups, I think the point I wanted to make was just that as a company and as a business, you really need to fine tune your idea and I think develop it and don't always expect things to happen the way you want them to because they won't. And I think you just have to accept that things have to fall in place at the right time for things to succeed. And even if they don't succeed, the success is the experience you get from it to build an idea next time, which is bigger and better. And I thought that point's really important to make,
Sanitize. Okay. So you can sanitize it. Great. Thank you so much for that.
I don't think you have COVID. I'm just being.
Don't be sorry for obeying the protocols. But anyways, yes, that was a very lovely intervention.
I want to just climb back to my point. So yes, with business and with tech, like he said, you might fail, or I don't use fail. You might get a setback, but then it changes the trajectory for you. So when things get to a point where you don't understand, you are learning front end, and maybe you've gotten to a point where you don't understand, switch to back end. Maybe you are just not good with front end. Don't give up. Try to find a different way of doing the same thing. You're in business, your idea has maybe fall flat. You feel maybe there is no way. Think about another idea and work on it. Because the people that came up with big ideas, Einstein was working on 1,000 things before he finally hits one good idea. Other people were working on other ideas, multiple of them, before they got to the particular one that really gave them the big blow. So just start from failure and then you rise from there. That's just what I have to say.
Thank you so much. But as she's saying, start from failure, we're not saying put yourself in the point where you are going to fail. No. Fail naturally. Some people plan their own failure so that it can become motivational speakers. Please, that is not what we are talking about. Don't be a swindler. Just really know what you are good at. They've talked about planning, strategize, plan, look for people in your space, learn, grow. Like, you can even see on the walls, unearth, transform, mingle, organize, plan, inspire. These are the things you should wake up in the morning. When you wake up, how am I different today? What new thing did I learn? We're not saying kill yourself and do a million things at a time. No, you're a human. You would burn out. When you burn out, how do you resuscitate? Like, where do you go to have that mental safety and space where you can come back bigger and better? We're not saying do a million things. Please take necessary breaks. It's very, very important, because when you're sick, you would spend more money taking care of your health than the money you would have spent hanging out with your friends. So please know what you're after, but also think about yourself too. It's not all about being successful. Be successful in a 360 way, mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially. I don't want to end there because we have a lot of questions from our online audiences. I would pick a few from there, and I would also give the floor to some of us in-house to contribute, ask questions, or also give their feedback on certain things. So let me mention this question. Someone asked from the registration forms, how do I transition from my current job to another industry without experience? I think we've talked about that briefly. Learn. If you want to start something else, learn, grow, know what works, and Google is the keyword. Google. So we're going to skip that to how do I find my career aspirations and focus on them rather than going for whatever job is available. Yeah, so I think this is important. How do you think this job is where you want to be? I think I heard my voice. Anyways, how do you think this job is aligning to your goals, your aspirations, and not just saying because I'm broke, this job is going to pay me 3,000, so I'm going to apply, and when I get there, why are you here? Why should we hire you? You tell them you're broke. No. How do you find a job that's tailored to your specific needs, your requirements, and it's something you're passionate about? Yeah.
So basically, if you are a job changer or a fresh graduate or an entrepreneur, before you start out any career, you need to list your talent, your passion, and your interest. Because those three things are going to be your driving force, they are going to be your aspiration, so that even when you're in that career, you know that, hey, I have a passion for this particular thing that I'm doing. So with me in politics, even though my dad was like, going to politics, maybe along the line, if I didn't have the passion, I would have backsided, but then because I had the interest there too, it's more or less propelled me to where I am today. So to set goal, your aspiration, you need to go for something that best fits your talent, your aspiration, your interest, and also your end goal. Where do you want to see yourself? Does this aspiration, does this passion that I have, and this career that I have, is going to take me there? So basically, yeah.
Zulaiha, do you want to add up?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just want to be as real as possible here. Ghana is hard. That's number one. And we have passions, yes. I am fortunate that I developed that when I was very young, and so it took shape for me. But a lot of people are still in the process of discovering themselves, especially in Ghana. From conversations I've had with people, it's like a lot of people still don't know themselves. Even the courses they choose in university, they don't even know what they are doing. They just go and do it, right? So you are a fresh graduate, or you've been unemployed for a very long time, and then you have an opportunity to actually work. Do you know what you have to do? Take the work. It might not fit what your passion is for now, but this is what it's doing for you. It's paying the bills. So what you have to do is that you need to be very intentional about designing a life for yourself. So you've been out of school for 2 to 3 years now. You have been sending your CVs to everybody. You finally get a breakthrough of getting a job. Maybe it's paying you just 500 cedis a month. But this is what you have to do. So whilst you go to work from Monday to Friday, from 7 to 5, right? You're working to get money to pay the bills. Make sure that when you come back from 5 to 12 a.m., you are working on what your passion is. That's when I talk about tech. So you want to be a software developer. When you come back from work, go on your laptop or on your phone and then start learning. Hello world. You just type. Look, if you don't even know how to type, just try, right? So what you're doing is that you are telling yourself that you need to get to your passion in the next 2 to 3 years. You draw that road plan. So, okay, I'm going to be earning 500 cedis at the end of the month for 2 years. This is what I'm using that money for. I'm saving this amount of money for school to maybe boost up my software developing that I'm doing online, right? So okay, then I do that. When I come back, even if you are sleepy, put your leg in water and work on yourself, right? Because the truth is that it's not everybody that's going to have a straight route to start with a job that fits into your passion. Other people are going to go from one corner to the other, and then what you don't know is sometimes you think you are actually passionate about drinking water, but if you start drinking juice, you'll be like, oh, juice is nicer than water, right?
Wow.
So
the shade.
Yes. So what I always tell myself when I'm picking up something is, what am I becoming here? So okay, you are in a job that's paying 500. Say, okay, I am becoming somebody who can at least pay my bills. That's a win. Right? And so, okay, so whilst I'm paying my bills, I'm also working on my career. So in the next 5 years, what am I becoming? I'm becoming somebody who has experience in working as maybe a secretary. So I have that experience, plus somebody who is a software developer. And imagine having this two, being a secretary and then having the tech skills. Before I started my job, I taught for some time. I was a project manager for some time, and then I was a host and a writer for a media industry. Let me tell you what this did for me. The project manager thing was volunteering. I didn't get paid. It helped me with Divaloper, the organization I have now, because I was a project manager for a ladies organization. It helped me with my Divaloper right now. I was volunteering with the media house where I was a host and I was writing. I host a show called Tech TV on GH1. I don't know if you might have seen it, you might not have seen it. Yeah. So what that volunteering did for me during that time is that it helped me build my public speaking and hosting skills. And then the third one is what?
Wow.
The teaching. The teaching. I was a teacher. I was an ICT teacher in Tamale. I was teaching from primary 1 to JSS 3. And then I was making about 1,000 CDs. It wasn't reaching me, or it was annoying. But what it has actually done is that when I started running Divaloper, I teach sometimes. I can stand and I can teach you. It helps me. So all these 3 things were at the point I might think that it was not something I wanted to do, and maybe I'm passionate about this, but those jobs have fed into who I am right now, and I don't regret taking those jobs at all. So if you get a job right now in Ghana, take it and then use that time, prepare a plan for what you want to become in the next 2 to 3 years. You don't have to start it now. You will not be a millionaire right now, but if you plan very well, in the next 10 to 15 years, you'll be a millionaire. KFC started when he was 60 years. We all eat KFC now. So it's not too late for you. Just start from somewhere and develop and just rise.
Please, so those who like water, drink your water. If you like juice, drink your juice. Abena, what do you have to say? Do you want to add up, or it's enough?
No. So I just wanted to add something, because volunteership is very important. Because I remember the work I was doing at Focus FM. I was a volunteer, but I actually contributed to my communication skills. Also, I volunteered with All Africa Student Union, World Student Environmental Network. That actually contributed to my interest in Go Green and all of that. So every opportunity that you get, as she says, you take it up. It pays the bills, aside that you get valuable experience for your next career or your next option. So yeah.
Personal question. So if it's not paying the bills, should we take it or we should not?
You should take it, because that's what I was saying. I'm just adding up to that. It's not just about paying the bills, but if it's more or less like volunteership, something that you gain valuable experience from it too, you should take it. Trust me.
In Ghana, if it's not paying the bills
adequately, but at least
sometimes it depends on the organization, honestly.
True.
Because I've realized that sometimes we want to take advantage of people, and so in my little way, honestly, even if I don't have money to pay you, I'll tell you, okay, so I can't pay you, but I'll buy a course for you online. I'll give you money for credit. I'll give you money for this. In my little way, because you can't expect somebody to do everything for you for free.
Yeah.
No, you're actually working for the person to actually get money. Yeah. So why doesn't the person also exchange some value? And honestly, people take for granted when they don't exchange some level of commitment. So as much as possible, even if you are volunteering, please make sure that at least there's some stipend, TNT, something small, just to keep you moving, because you cannot just no, Ghana is too hard for you to do things for free.
Yeah. I agree with Zulaiha. I'm not taking her, but yeah, I actually agree with both of them. It all boils down to your personality, your values, the organization too. Because if you are going to volunteer for YOTA, have you seen who is sponsoring YOTA? Do you know who comes to YOTA? What projects are they doing? Does it align with your goals, your future? So if I'm inspiring people in TVET, if I'm inspiring people in digital skills, if I'm inspiring people to start their own enterprises, is that fulfilling for me? Who would I be meeting at YOTA? I'm meeting industry key players. I can attach myself to talk to them about my business, learn how to write my own grants, learn how to write my own proposal. So if I'm going to volunteer with YOTA and they will only give me food, I will eat the food and tap into the network. If I'm going to volunteer somewhere else and they will not pay me, what am I? No, it's not going to be free. You tell me you won't give me money, but me, I'll make sure before I leave there, I leave my mark and I take something from you. You never know what I'm taking from you, but make sure, even if it's not monetary, find that beneficial point about them and tap into it. But if it's the money you're going for, please go for the money too. Anyways, but seriously, know what works for you, because another very important question that came through, we are talking about money. People are saying, so we've spoken about changing your career, moving to a different space, growing, buying online course. What happens to people who are unable to, people in marginalized communities, people who are from broke backgrounds? How does the less privileged person advance in his or her career? How does the less privileged person advance in his or her career? The person is even finding it difficult to afford for a meal, so how do they advance? So now we see money is important, but yeah, I think for them, we have governmental projects, NGOs that really go to target them. So let me just push myself in a panel space.
Oh, I can touch on it.
Oh, great. Thank you, Lord. So please carry on for us.
I think that most marginalized communities in Ghana, it's real. People come from less privileged homes, but in as much as none of us came from a privileged home.
Are you sure?
Yes, none of us came from a privileged home.
That's okay.
Yeah, because I grew up in Kumasi. The connection I had was when I moved to Accra. That's when I started having all the contact and preparing me to dream higher that, hey, I want to go for Commonwealth. Because every time I passed by Jubilee House, I was like, someday this should be my office, So it's not about the privilege that we had, but people from less privileged homes should take advantage of projects. World Bank is doing something on financial inclusion. The Ministry of Finance have launched financial inclusion projects. There are social intervention projects by the Gender Ministry, and a lot of NGOs are giving. YOTA gives free skills, so that's more or less like they're investing in you. So it shouldn't be set back because I'm from a less privileged. Rather, look at the available options. What jobs can you do to sustain you whilst you still pursue that future that you want to? But look for the opportunities to. Madam said you should always Google. So Google and see your nearby support scheme and programs running that you can still touch on. So you should never think that because you are from a marginalized group, you cannot think outside the box. No, you shouldn't let where you are, who you are, determine your future. So basically,
yeah, you want to punch us?
Yes, I'm actually thinking about the less privileged person, and I'm actually thinking about how the person can actually afford a smartphone to actually Google. So that was why
there's internet. Like you can go to cafes and you can pay for 1 hour. So no, because I never had a laptop growing up.
It'll come to you soon.
Computer.
Let Zulaiha finish, and I'm bringing the mics to you.
That was actually why I did this, because I was like, okay, let's say we go to a community. Okay, so when I was in UDS, we actually have this third trimester thing where they take you to a remote environment for you to go and do your third trimester there. Sometimes you go to certain communities and they don't actually have internet. Look, even to make a call, we have to get a special place in the community to make a call. And so how then does somebody in that environment actually rise through the ranks? That's $1 million question. That's a question I can't answer right now.
True.
But then I have a suggestion. Like I said, for me, I'm very passionate about inspiring people one community at a time. And so it's something that I want to show to everybody. We all have villages we are coming from. And if you are sitting here, you have some level of privilege, whether you choose to acknowledge it or not. Yes. So what I want you to do is leave here with a contact of somebody you can actually work with in future. And we all have people that we are friends with. One time, if you can just take it up as a yearly project for yourself, ask your friends to volunteer with you. Go to your community and just educate them. Show them what a smartphone looks like. Show them what an iPad looks like. Just Google and show them. At least that would help, because what we are going to do is that if everybody here at least takes that up, in the next 5 to 10 years at least, the people that we show these things to will have a change of mind, and they would also help people in their community too when they actually also grow. So I don't know how they are going to grow their careers without us helping them at this particular point. And so it's a pledge I want all of us to make here, that when you leave, get your friends, at least in December or November, just get your friends and you both should travel to your village. You can take turns, travel to your village. You can even do it all year round. Maybe every quarter, one friend, you go to his village. Even if the village doesn't have lights, please go with your mats. Sleep out there, because you're doing it for the greater good. You're doing it for country. You're doing it for yourself. And you'll be surprised as the things that you will see. And you'll be surprised that you can even get a $1 billion business idea from that experience, because it opens certain doors for you. It makes you understand the level of privilege you have and the things that you can actually do. That's just what I can say right now. Yes, we should just help one community at a time. One community at a time it is. So now, before you both start beating me up with your questions, I would like to invite you, if you can just really walk up here, hand over the mic to you, and you can, so we're going to start mentioning your name, how we can find you, what you do, and proceed with your question, recommendation, or feedback. So you can actually come and stand here, so after one person, then we keep moving. You got one. Okay, great. Okay. We can start with you, please. Ladies first. Always.
Okay, my name is Latifa. I'm a student at the University for Development Studies, and my question goes to Ms. Zulaiha. I have two questions actually for each of you. My first question is, Ms. Zulaiha, on your way to becoming who you are today, has there been a point where you felt like giving up?
Oh, yes.
If so, like what kept you going?
Is it on? Yes. Last year was a very good year for me. It was like a big year. And if you follow me, a lot of people were like, oh, like your year was really good. Like your year was really good. Last year, I won Entrepreneur of the Year from Women's Choice Awards. And go me. Yeah, but what people don't know is that after I took the award, I actually went off social media for like 2 weeks, and I was going through depression. It was like a tough time for me, and in fact, it's been like that periodically for me. Any entrepreneur goes through that phase. Things were tough. Like when I say things were tough, I mean things were tough, and I was questioning myself on different spectrums. I'm like, is this really what I want? Can you really do this? Is this really who you are? Are you sure? Like imposter syndrome was knocking from different angles. In fact, it got to a point I actually tweeted it. I was like, imposter syndrome is really dealing with me this evening, because it was so hard. And when you come out there, people see the glamour around it. You go on Facebook and I write something and I see people, oh, I want to be like you. I go in my inbox, people are like, I want to be like you. How do you do it? But I weep sometimes. Like genuinely, I just go home and I just take off everything. I just lie on my bed and I cry, because it gets so tough. But there's one thing that I always tell myself is that, look, we don't give up here. And not today, yes. I'm like, so sometimes I'm like, okay, so today we are not doing any work. I pack my books, I pack everything, and I just sit down and I just watch Netflix, and I just try. Yes, and I make sure I chill. I really chill. I get my candles and just like be in the mood, like, you know, because it's not easy. No matter where you find yourself, whether you are a student, whether you are in a career, look, it's not easy. But there's one thing that you need to know is that you keep your mind to the game. That's why I say strategic planning. You have a goal. For me, I have a goal. I won't say it now. I'll say it maybe next 3 years. But I have a goal. And so every morning I read my goals just to refresh myself and to align myself with where I'm going to. And so every time I'm like, okay, if I don't get here, we are not giving up. I will stop at some point. I will take a breather. I will calm down. I will cry. But I will still move on. And at least every day I do one thing that contributes to my goal. I never go a day without doing something that contributes to my goal. So it's either I read a book that's going to help me in future, or I communicate with somebody that's going to help me. I bug Nadia sometimes. I need you to help me with this, because you can't have it all figured out. And so sometimes when it gets so tough, sometimes I go off on them on the group page. They need me to actually talk to them about something, but I'm not going to be there 24 hours. 7 times a day, 24/7, because I'm human, and there are some times that I just don't want to work and my brain will not even allow me. And I understand that humanity part of me, but then I also understand that I am human and I've not reached my breaking point yet. And then I know that my mind can actually do certain things that my mind has not even understood that it can do. And so every day I do something small that contributes to the journey, but then I never go a day without doing anything. And so even though I'll cry, but I'll be crying, be reading a book, or I'll be on social media on our page trying to see what is going on, you know? Yeah, so you have to strike the balance, because it's going to get tough. And I don't think I have gotten to the toughest task yet, because there is more to come. And so every day I'm like, okay, brace yourself, there's more to come. So that's just it.
Lovely.
After last year, I wanted to give up. In fact, when I was doing my master's, I wanted to give up, because I chose a thesis that was outside my scope, machine learning. My God. Like, it was crazy. And I was sitting there to type, and I just couldn't type. I was like, you know what, this master's is not even worth it. No, it's not even worth it. But then I came back and I'm done. So it's like, at every particular point in time, there's going to be a hassle, there's going to be a problem, a setback. But we tell ourselves that we don't give up here, right? Can we all say we don't give up here?
We don't give up here.
Yeah, we move. Yeah.
Move. All right, so let's really keep our questions briefly so everybody can have an opportunity.
My second question is to Miss Abena. Somewhere last year, I wanted to go into students. Before I say anything, please pardon my insolence for what I'm about to say.
Be free. It's a safe space.
Okay. I wanted to go into student politics last year, and one of my friends told me, like, I was too transparent, like I'm too plain to go into politics, because at some point in time I'll have to lie or steal my way out of one thing or the other. Do you have anything to say about that?
Do you want her to admit to lying or corruption? What is it you want her to do? Not under my watch, though.
So first and foremost, politics is not just about what you see on the platform. In fact, it's your ability to choose between two options. So your decision to wear this top today is politics, because you had a choice and you went for that one. So what we are missing as a country is there is an issue of leadership crisis in Africa, because corruption is not just in political circles, it's in every organization. So don't limit yourself that in politics there is corruption, I'll be seen in a particular light and I don't want to be known. Even when you're a civil servant, hey, they're also really corrupt. Yes, so in every sphere there is corruption. But the idea about except IT. Okay. So the idea about you having to lie is up to you. it all boils down to your personal values, your personal experience, the ideas that you represent, who you are, where you want to go to. Do you want to be labeled as a liar in politics? Who do you want to be? So don't give up because people said you have to lie your way up there. No, in politics there's something called clear communication. That's what I'm saying, because you need to say something that people can relate to, but that doesn't mean that you should overpromise them what you cannot achieve. You know that. And in running of the campaign, yeah, sometimes you get so overwhelmed and so excited, you start saying things that you tend to wonder, am I really the person that promised these things? Those low moments and high moments do come in, but I think that you need to stay a step back, review where you want to go to. And hey, going in there, we need more women in politics. The men have not dominated for years, and we can see where we are heading towards as Africa. So please come on board.
There's one thing too that I think that as a country we are not understanding. One thing is that sometimes you actually want to do something. I got that when I was standing for SRC treasurer. I actually had policies that I wanted to do, but then when you go in, the state of the nation is different. The routes and how things are done, it changes the way your policies are going to be played out. And so that's actually something that when people are saying the government promised this, the government promised that, they've not been able, I'm like, look, it's one thing to be outside and to say something, and then there's another thing to be in there to actually implement them. Sometimes you really want to implement something, but the world is just working against you. Every system is working against you, and it's not your fault. But that doesn't mean that we don't have liars as politicians. We do. But sometimes, in every field, yeah, and sometimes you just, yeah, it's just like running a business. You have something you want to really achieve, but because of certain things, you have to take a different route to maybe achieve something. So please, we need you to be transparent. If we have about 10 politicians who are transparent, I'm sure Ghana by now, we have, what did you call the trains that are in the sky? What's it called?
Is it me you ask?
Just add this. One thing we shouldn't miss is that the leaders we have today came from the same society we have created. So if we want to change the system we see up there, we need to start by changing ourselves. We should be part of the change we need to seek up there. So start by being transparent in our own home, transparent in your church and around in your environment too. Because the leaders up there, they came from the society we have created. Yeah.
It is how Abena, they like really dodged the question, what did you do to making it about the leaders? But anyways, please don't forget to post about what's going on here today. Use Skills Hub chat as the hashtag. Tap at Skills Hub by YOTA. Take pictures, post your favorite quotes, post your favorite moments, please. And after here, I would really reply to everybody. Follow at Skills Hub by YOTA on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Use the hashtag Skills Hub chat. You can tag me. I'm at Starboss. You can tag Zulaiha. You can tag Abena. But make sure you post something about today, your moments, your feelings. So please, your questions should be brief, your responses very brief.
Okay, so I'm Kabina Owusu. I'm a software developer and a web developer, and I'm a graphic designer at the moment. I'm doing my service at Ghana Society for Education Technology, so I'm doing graphic design there, but I still do my normal things at the site. You know that. Okay, so I wanted to ask only one question, but I think I'll ask two. So
one please.
Okay, then let me general. Okay, so sorry. Okay, so my question is, in your field, since I'm asking one, in your field, in terms of you being entrepreneurs, how did you how should I say this? Let me say, how did you get the opportunity to, in terms of investors or in terms of you starting a business, how did you start it? Because I'm into, as I say, web development and all the things, so I'm trying to start a business on the side. And I know it's difficult in terms of you finding funds and all the things. So as